Welcome. We're excited to have everyone today. I'll give everyone a couple minutes to file in. So we're happy to have you all today on this Tuesday afternoon. So super. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Well, good afternoon. My name is Carolyn Muller, and I am the Senior Director of Learning and Development here at IFDA. And I'm excited to have you join us today for Why Planning Deliveries Ahead Matters More Than Ever. This is a session brought to you in partnership by IFDA's allied partner, Dispatch Track. Before we go ahead and get underway today, I wanted to just leave a couple of housekeeping items out there. As you'll notice your microphones are muted, but we encourage you to participate. So please utilize the chat function for any questions that you may have throughout the presentation. And of course, we'd be happy to answer them at the end. Today's webinar is also being recorded. So if you hear something today and you want to share it with someone that you know or you think could benefit from that, please do so. Happy to have you share with more folks. With that, I'll go ahead and say hello to Jason Melody from Dispatch Track. Jason brings nearly 20 years of fleet management software expertise to his role as software engineering team at Dispatch Track. He helps the organization optimize delivery optimizations and scalable technology solutions, especially supporting fleets from small businesses to Fortune 500 logistics. So with that, Jason, I'll lead it over to you.
All right, great. Thank you. Well, again, thanks everybody for joining today. I'm excited to walk through some of the key trends and opportunities we're seeing across food distribution as we move out of 2025 and into 2026. There's a lot of pressures on distributors today, whether it's from operational cost to growing customer expectations. And planning has become one of the most important levers in improving delivery performance and controlling costs. Today, we're going to look at, what's driving these changes and how leading distributors like yourselves are taking practical steps that you can do to strengthen your operations. So again, my name is Jason Melody, and as Carolyn said, I'm the head of the solutions engineering at Dispatch Track. I've worked many, many years closely with food distributors, helping them streamline routing, controlling operational costs, and improving delivery experience. Dispatch Track is the leader in AI-powered logistics software, working with over 2,500 companies globally. We bring together routing, customer communications, real-time visibility, and mobile workflows into a single unified platform. Everything we'll talk about today is grounded in real hands-on experience with organizations just like yours. So for today's agenda, here's what we'll cover. We'll start by exploring the major trends we're seeing across the food distribution industry, including operational pressures, the shifting in customer expectations, and the evolving delivery landscape. From there, I'm going to walk you through how Dispatch Track is helping companies address these challenges every day through better routing and planning, real-time visibility, stronger driver support, and more accurate communication. Then we'll focus on some quick wins, practical improvements that you guys can make and implement within the next 90 days to reduce cost, strengthen delivery performance. And then finally, we'll wrap it up with some time for Q&A and where we can dig into any of these areas a little bit more deeply. And be sure to stick around to the end. We'll announce a winner of a $100 Amazon gift card. So the trends affecting the food distribution right now are significant, and they're definitely accelerating. Customer expectations have shifted dramatically. According to some recent studies, 84% of buyers are now expecting real-time ETAs, and 61% of them say that they would switch distributors after just 2 delivery issues. And that's pretty big. The delivery experience is now part of the product that you're delivering. We're also seeing a major growth in direct-to-consumer and omni-channel grocery models. Reports have shown that 68% of distributors now support some form of hybrid B2B and B2C routing. There's also an enormous pressure around operating costs. And the industry shows that fleet operating costs have increased close to 20% over the last 3 years, mostly driven by fuel, labor, compliance, and the rising equipment costs for these multi-temperature assets that you guys might have. And finally, customers are demanding speed, freshness, and accuracy. Restaurants, grocery stores, convenience stores, hospitality now expect tighter time windows, right? And more predictable service and real-time communication. All of these create more complexity and more opportunity for companies who operate efficiently. So let's talk about customer expectations in the food industry, right? They have changed dramatically over the last few years. Operators want tighter delivery windows, real-time updates, and delivery experience that they can plan their own business around, right? According to IFDA, more than 80% of customers now expect accurate ETAs. And 73% of the companies that we work with, and 73% say that these late or inaccurate deliveries directly impact the revenue. So reliability isn't just a service goal. Again, it's part of the value that you deliver. And what this means is that your planning has to be more precise than ever. When the plan is solid, your ETAs are accurate, the day unfolds more predictably, and your customers get the transparency that they expect. Basically, good planning directly translates into better customer experience. And then the margins are getting squeezed from every angle. Distributors with manual or outdated processes are struggling the most, especially when reruns, misdeliveries, or redeliveries compound the costs. Operational pressures continue to mount, right? Fuel price fluctuations impact margins daily. Refrigerated and multi-temp equipment is expensive and it requires careful planning to maximize the value of those trucks. Without the right tools, many distributors rely heavily on a manual process, which often leads to overtime, inefficient routing, and inconsistent performance. And to that, the rising cost of credits, returns, spoilage, and the gap between best-in-class distributors and everyone else is widening. When you combine the rising expectations, labor shortages, cost pressure, visibility becomes absolutely essential. Visibility gives you control, right? It lets you see the problem before they become failures. It supports your drivers, empowers dispatch, enhances sales communication, and improves the customer trust. According to Gartner, 92% of distribution leaders say that real-time visibility is a top priority for them in the next 12 months, but only 28% of them actually feel confident with the current visibility tools that they have. And in the end, the ability to use real-time data is imperative to planning more efficiently. The gap between expectation and capability is widening, and that's where Dispatch Track makes the major impact. So we're also seeing big shifts in distribution patterns, right? More direct to consumer deliveries, more hybrid mixed purpose routes, new delivery windows, and increased movement between DCs, cross docks, and hubs. More than 50% of distributors report increased shuttle or middle mile movements. That creates a more complex network, right? And requires a little bit more flexibility with regards to the routing model. This is when a modern routing optimization tool has to support B2B in the morning and possibly B2C in the afternoon, along with shuttles, multi-day automation, and variable time windows. And it all has to stay tightly coordinated. So after working with food distributors for over a decade, we've learned that successful operations really excel in 5 key areas, right? Your route optimization and planning, customer communication, mobile driver execution, real-time visibility, and your reporting. If any one of these pieces is weak, it creates challenges downstream. When all 5 work together, distributors gain efficiency, predictability, customer satisfaction. So route optimization is the foundation of the platform. We use AI to build efficient and realistic routes that reflect your unique business rules, things like time windows, capacity, mixed temperature compartments, driver availability, traffic patterns, reloads, and even the shuttle coordinations. When the plan is strong, the entire day runs more smoothly. Then you have real-time visibility so that you can manage proactively instead of reactively. Then mobile management, which gives every driver clear and guided workflows to execute consistently. Customer communications to reduce inbound calls and keep customers informed with accurate ETAs. And finally, your KPIs and reporting to turn daily performance into continuous improvement. So when you measure the right things, reliability increases, you plan more efficiently, and costs come down. So let's take a step back and have a global vision of route planning. Planning isn't just daily or weekly on one distribution center. You need to see the big picture of all of your distribution centers and customers across a region or a state. And that's what territory planning does. Optimization of a long-term plan, right? Once a year or every quarter, depending on how many new customers you add and remove throughout the year. It offers a more of a strategic point of view to help build and compact route clusters per week and per day, taking into account visit frequency, balancing the workload across the drivers for better workforce utilization. That can help you as well when you're growing your operations and when you add hundreds of new customers or want to know where should be the location of your next warehouse or distribution center. But at the same time, you need the agility to adjust weekly planning so you can create your static reoccurring routes where the dispatcher can make the final adjustments, right? You can create different scenarios for your daily operations, holiday weeks, and peak season. Dispatch Track allows you to create weekly plans that automatically roll into the daily routes by giving guidance to the algorithm. When optimizing your daily routes, you have to deal with off-day deliveries. You can operate your usual static routes, but also find the best way to insert emergency orders so that you get both the big strategic picture and the tactical execution. Territory Planner is really taking a step back from the day-to-day stuff and looking at your operation at a strategic level, right? Instead of only optimizing daily routes, Territory Planner helps design the right structure for your markets over a week or even over many weeks. This is where you'll answer things like, how many routes do we really need in a region, or which customers belong to which route more long term? And how balanced are the workloads across the different territories that you have, right? Or are we overserving or underserving any part of the market? When you get this strategic layer right, your daily planning becomes dramatically easier, right? The routing engine isn't fighting against structure, it's working with a well-designed foundation. It gives you stable, sustainable, planned routes that reflect your real geography, your customer density, and delivery frequency. So Territory Planner also gives you the ability to balance your routes more intelligently, right? Again, using those real volumes, service times, delivery frequencies, you can make sure that no route is overloaded, no driver is underutilized. You can model what happens if you move certain customers to different territories, change coverage patterns, or redistribute volume across days. This matters because a well-balanced set of territories leads to better daily planning. And when each route has the right amount of work, the right customers grouped together geographically, your daily routing becomes more predictable and more efficient. Drivers start their day with routes that actually make sense, right? And dispatch spends less time troubleshooting, and customers get more consistent delivery experience. Basically, good long-term planning is what enables good short-term execution. And Territory Planner gives you the data and tools to get that structure right. So now that we've looked at the power of territory planning, I want to talk a little bit more about the daily route optimization. At the end of the day, everything in the last mile flows from the quality of the plan. If your routes aren't efficient, realistic, or aligned with your customers' expectations, then your drivers, your dispatch team, and your customers all feel that pain downstream. Dispatch Track's routing engine is designed specifically for the complexities of food distribution. It doesn't look at just shortest distance. It considers a wide range of operational variables like capacity from cases, weight, volume. looking at mixed temperature compartments, traffic patterns, your resource availability, cost, time windows, and even reloads or shuttle dependencies. What that means is you get routes that are not only optimized for cost and efficiency, but ones that your drivers can actually execute. You're not sending people out with plans that look good on paper, but fall apart in the real world. Strong routing gives you predictable days, better asset utilization, and fewer surprises. And the first step in creating a delivery operation that consistently meets and often exceeds customer expectations. So building on the core of the routing engine, the next important concept really is around hybrid route optimization. Most food distributors don't operate in a world where everything is either fully standard or fully dynamic. The reality is somewhere in between. And that's exactly what Dispatch Track is designed to handle. Every distributor has routes that need to remain stable, whether it's because of a customer expectation, driver familiarity, union rules, or even specific delivery windows. At the same time, you have fluctuations in demand, same day, last minute will call add-ons of orders, seasonal peaks, and customers that don't fit neatly into those static routes that you might have. That's where hybrid routing gives you that flexibility to do both. You can lock certain stops or entire routes into place and then allow the system to dynamically optimize everything around those. The map pins you see, red, green, gray, represent different levels of flexibility. Red pins just simply mean that that stop needs to stay fixed to a route and in that stop position. Green pins keep the stop on the same route, but allows the position to be shifted based on time window or optimization. And the gray pins allow a stop to be moved if it makes more sense to save time, cost, and help with the overall optimization. This lets you preserve the structure and predictability of your core routes while still gaining efficiency of dynamic routing where it makes sense. The result is a routing plan that reflects how your business actually runs, not a theoretical model. It helps your drivers stay consistent, help operations manage variability, and helps your customers receive dependable service even when volumes do shift. So shuttle routing has become a much bigger part of food distribution networks, especially as companies operate multiple DCs, regional hubs, and cross-dock locations. The key challenge isn't just moving product between locations, it's coordinating that entire movement so that the last mile routes that depend on those shuttle start times are fully loaded and operate without any delays. So the dispatch track system also automatically calculates the ideal start time for each of those shuttles based on the needs of those dependent last mile routes, right? In other words, the shuttle schedule isn't built in isolation. It's it looks at when each of those last mile trucks needs its product, the drive time between the facilities, the loading and unloading time, and any constraints, and then determines the exact time the shuttle needs to roll from that distribution center. One of the biggest advantages of using Dispatch Track for shuttle routing is that the mobile app will then guide the drivers through precise scan on, scan off workflows for every shuttle load. This ensures that what leaves your distribution center or facility is exactly what arrives at the next. Nothing gets missed, nothing gets misplaced. This eliminates the guesswork and prevents one of the most common breakdowns in the distribution network is the last mile route sitting there waiting on a shuttle that left too late or got delayed. When the real-time visibility and scanning workflows are automatically calculated for the shuttle timing, you get tightly synchronized network where inventory moves smoothly between the different nodes that you have, and the last mile routes leave on time, fully loaded every time. And for food distributors, capacity isn't just about a single space on the truck, right? It's about the right space for the right product. Automated compartment assignment for dry, refrigerated, frozen goods ensures compliance and efficient loading, right? So weight-based capacity controls also help with catch weight products, And when capacity is matched accurately, the routes become more reliable and driver execution becomes more consistent. So let's talk about mobility, right? And drivers play a huge role in the delivery experience, and modern mobility tools make it much easier for them to execute consistently. With the mobile app, drivers get clear stop by stop instructions, delivery notes, time windows, which are especially important for these newer or younger drivers who rely heavily on technology rather than simple tribal knowledge. The mobile workflow also gives you a complete visibility into how each stop is progressing. Right? Drivers can quickly capture photos, videos, signature, and proof of delivery, reducing disputes and strengthening customer trust. Beyond that, the app can present custom forms such as site surveys, temperature checks, access notes, or any other information that your operation needs to collect at a specific location. This creates a more detailed and accurate profile of each stop and helps routing and operations plan much better over time. Overall, mobility isn't just about tracking the driver, it's about empowering them with the information and tools that they need to deliver accurately, consistently, and confidently. With Dispatch Track, you get the clarity right from the planning stage. The routing engine understands case weight, cube, and compartment needs and customer requirements, so the plan is built around the actual makeup of the load, not just a guess. That means you're sending the right products, the right quantities, the right route from the very beginning. Then at execution, scan on and scan off workflows give you a precise confirmation that what is planned is what is actually being loaded and delivered. There's no ambiguity, no searching the warehouse for missing items, and no surprises at the customer site. This level of item visibility dramatically reduces returns, short deliveries, or customer disputes. It also supports better planning for tomorrow because you know exactly how accurate today's execution was. When operations, the drivers, planners all see the same level of item level truth, the entire delivery operation becomes more reliable and more predictable. So driver AI is not just another dashboard, not another layer of complexity that the drivers have to deal with. It's a contextual AI generated audio guidance component built directly into the driver workflow. It's there to help and not overwhelm the driver. So basically, before a driver arrives at any stop, the driver AI will kick in and give them a short preview of what's coming up, right? It's basically letting them know, hey, is it a residential or a commercial location that they're going to? What kind of access will they have? How long is a stop expected to take? And what is actually being delivered? Right? We combine location intelligence from the geolocation of that stop, along with order context from dispatch track, summarizing it up with things like the order number, ETA, and any delivery notes, and basically everything that the driver needs to execute the stop successfully. It's the right information at the right time in the right format. And it works within the rhythm of the driver's job, right? No excessive screen tapping, no hunting for details, just a quick, smart heads up that helps the driver stay ahead of what's coming up next. Right? You can see on the screen a shot of the mobile interface where the driver just simply needs to press the next delivery button, and a short audio clip will automatically play on the device. Um, Sales teams, right? They're closely tied to the delivery experience, and even if they're not the ones on the road. So when a sales rep have real-time visibility into order and delivery status, they can communicate proactively with customers instead of reacting to problems after the fact. This reduces surprises, strengthens customer relationships, and positions the sales rep to be as a trusted partner rather than someone who has to check with operations always. So visibility also helps sales identify trends, reoccurring delays, product issues, delivery window constraints, or customers who consistently need more support. Those insights can inform future orders for better planning and improve customer service. Basically, when sales and operations share the same real-time view, the entire customer experience becomes smoother and more predictable, and far more professional. So we're not just enabling drivers through mobile app, we enable other parts of your organization, such as sales reps, to get the information quickly and easily. Let's talk a little bit about customer notifications. So customer communication is one of the most important parts of the delivery experience, and it actually starts well before the truck ever leaves the building. When we talk about communication, we're really talking about how well the entire plan comes together in a way that your customers can rely on. When routing is accurate and the plan is realistic, the system can confidently generate ETAs and delivery notifications that customers can trust. Right? Good planning produces predictable schedules, and predictable schedules make meaningful communications. Dispatch Track automates the communication end to end. Customers can receive free route notifications, live ETA updates, and text ahead alerts as the driver approaches. And if anything changes, updates are sent automatically. This eliminates a huge amount of inbound calls and gives restaurants, grocers, convenience stores all the ability to plan their operations around your delivery. Communication becomes a natural extension of the plan itself. When your routing and visibility and driver execution tools are all aligned, your customers always know what's happening, and the transparency builds confidence, reduces friction, and strengthens the relationship over time. There's a web widget that's part of the Dispatch Track platform, which gives your customers a simple real-time view of their delivery without needing to call your team. Because the plan and ETA logic are accurate, the widget can show live driver location when they are the next up customer, and view it to be able to view that right in the widget, along with updated arrival times and any other changes along the way. This turns your planning and communication efforts into a customer-facing experience. Right? Restaurants, grocers, and convenience stores, again, can see exactly when to expect the truck, which reduces inbound calls and helps them prepare on their end. It's a small feature that dramatically improves confidence and transparency. This web visibility widget is fully customizable to match your company branding with your logo, font, and whatever other information you'd like to share on this web widget. So from the trucks and any of your outside carriers, we can provide visibility during real-time execution to manage proactively. We have live dashboards that show where each truck is with GPS updates from the Dispatch Track mobile device or some of the most common telematics devices that might be in the trucks, right? Making sure that your trucks arrive on time or that you're ready for the next reload. You'll get instant exception alerts for delays, failed deliveries, partial deliveries, and two-way messaging, including photos and videos, signatures and notes, all synced automatically from the field in real time. After all the deliveries are done, reports can be generated with insights into customer satisfaction levels, delivery performance, driver productivity, and other KPIs that provide a comprehensive view of your last mile operations. The visibility dashboard is where you see how well the plan is playing out in real time. Because your routes are built intelligently on the front end, the dashboard can show you exactly where execution is aligned with the plan and where it's drifting. You get a live view of every route, every stop, and ETA, so that you can step in early when something needs attention. Instead of waiting for the issues to escalate, you can keep the day on track and keep customers informed. It's the bridge between smart planning and flawless execution. So plan versus actual is where you can close the loop. It shows you exactly how your routes perform compared to what was planned. Drive time, stop time, service windows, and overall route duration. When you can see the gaps clearly, you understand whether the issue was with the plan, with the execution, or something specific to a customer location or site. Over time, this feedback makes your routing more accurate, reduces overtime, and helps you build a more predictable delivery operation. It's one of the more important tools for continuous improvement. So visibility into the plan versus actual is really where planning and execution come together. This view gives you a single place to see how closely the day followed the plan, where routes ran long, where stops took more time than expected, and where delays started to form. When you can see these gaps clearly, you understand whether the issue came from the plan itself or from something that the driver may have encountered, or from a specific customer location. And that insight is what allows you to refine the planning model. The more accurate your plan becomes, the fewer surprises your drivers and customers experience, the fewer schedule ripple effects you see, and the more predictable your entire delivery operation becomes. This visibility is the foundation of continuous improvement, and it all starts with strong planning. This view breaks down the variance between planned route time and actual route time. Maybe certain routes consistently run long, maybe some run short. Maybe differences are caused by customer unloading behaviors or seasonal patterns. Identifying these trends help you refine the model behind your planning. When the plan times start to more accurately reflect what happens in the field, your labor forecasting improves, your routes tighten, and you reduce overtime. Basically, great planning comes from understanding these patterns and adjusting for them. So the average time per stop is one of the most important metrics for improving accuracy. If one customer routinely takes 18 minutes to unload, but plan assumes 10, that creates a downstream delays. If one store always moves quickly, that's good to know as well. So when you understand true stop duration, the planning engine becomes more significantly more precise. Better stop time assumptions equal better ETAs, fewer late arrivals, and a smoother day for your drivers. This is a great example of how real execution data feeds back into smarter planning. And through Dispatch Track, collecting all that information, that real service time, we can take that information and automatically update the planned service time for better planning. You have time window deviation reports, which show how often routes hit or miss their promised windows, right? For food distribution, this is critical. Many customers run staffing, prep, receiving schedules, all tied directly to the ETA that is provided. When you see which customers you're consistently early or late for, you can refine your planning roles. And maybe a customer needs a wider window, maybe unloading takes longer than expected, or maybe their frequency needs to shift. Strong planning is about aligning expectations with reality. And this metric gives you a clear path to improving on-time performance across your entire network. So let's talk about some quick wins that you guys could achieve in the next 90 days. These are not giant multi-year transformation. These are concrete steps that deliver value almost immediately. First, we have optimizing your daily routes. Most distributors are still building their routes manually or relying on yesterday's planned static standard routes. When you shift to an automated daily planning, especially if you have a mixed temperature loads or variable order volumes, you'll reduce mileage, cut down on overtime, create more predictable days for your drivers. You can also build in delivery windows more accurately so your customers get tighter ETAs without creating any additional stress for dispatch. Another opportunity is scan on and scan off workflows, right? It gives you instant accountability for what was loaded and what was delivered. If something leaves the warehouse, you know it. If something doesn't make it onto the truck, you'll know it. It eliminates debates, reduces credits, gives drivers simple, repeatable workflows that fit the realities of food distribution, especially for high volume or multi-stop routes. Next is real-time order tracking, right? This is where the visibility moves from being an internal tool to becoming a customer-facing value. When every order is tracked from warehouse to truck to the end customer, you create a complete chain of custody. Dispatch can quickly see what's running ahead or behind, and sales can even answer customer questions confidently without having to call the driver. Then you have proactive customer notifications, basically those "where's my order" calls. So instead of waiting for restaurants or grocers to call asking where their truck is, you can message them automatically with updated ETAs or arrival alerts. This takes an enormous amount of pressure off dispatch and dramatically improves customer satisfaction, especially early mornings when staff is limited and the kitchen at these restaurants might be prepping for their day. Finally, digital proof of delivery, right? Having timestamps, photos, signatures, um, notes all create clarity for you, right? It protects the drivers, protects you as a distributor, and creates a better experience for the customer, right? These quick wins compound fast, right? Most companies see fewer reruns, better delivery performance, and happier customers within the first 1 to 3 months. So thank you everyone for joining. I'm going to open it up for Q&A. Um, Carolyn, are there any questions in the chat?
Yeah, Jason. So I actually had a couple questions. So you talked a little bit about sort of these quick wins.
Hmm.
There's clearly you went through all the robust opportunities and different elements. Can you talk a little bit about sort of the change management aspect of this as you look to implement such a robust system, getting everyone throughout the process within the distributor on board? You know, obviously there's a people component, even though there's data there, there's always adoption, some of those people components. Is that a hurdle that you face sometimes?
Yeah, adoption is always a challenge, and a lot of companies, not just dispatch track, but any kind of big change within a company's organization, it's typically more successful when you adopt the crawl, walk, run
Yep,
method,
yep,
right? So finding easy wins, that so-called low-hanging fruit to make those changes and then slowly roll out the rest of the capabilities or platform.
right, right. Yeah, like some of those small 90-day wins, I'm assuming those would be numbers we would encourage you to share, throughout the center, right? So people can see, I've implemented something new, but it's working and here's how it's working kind of thing.
Right, right. And you think about re-optimization in a company's distribution network, all right? It's easier to optimize and plan for a single day. But when you look at more of the strategic long term, that's a huge disruption to the overall
Yeah,
distribution network. So we typically start with your daily, more tactical routing and then segue into this more strategic long term planning.
right. And then I'm assuming, we obviously have distributors across the country, all different areas you indicated, whether it's residential or urban, right? And I'm assuming so, you put those variables in, but it's the AI is learning all the time how to optimize that route.
Absolutely, right? So we're always learning travel time from our mapping partnerships. We're learning service time from what's being captured out in the field by the drivers from the mobile device or the telematics that's on the truck. And we're using all that information to plan and optimize better moving forward.
Yeah. And just out of curiosity for some of our members who are exploring, moving in this direction from having a conversation with you to, getting something like this up and running, what's that lead time look like for you all?
Yeah, it really depends on the components of the platform that are being leveraged. But standing up solutions like this can take anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months.
Yep. Based on
Yeah,
complexity.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, super. I know, you talked a lot about last mile. I know that's, something as routes shift, it's definitely on at the top of our distributors' minds as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you, Jason. I don't think there's any other questions. So I think we've noted